All right, let's get into part 2 of the Majestic 12. And we had just reviewed the debriefing to President Eisenhower from the Majestic 12 regarding the 9 metallic discs that were seen flying over the Cascades in Washington in 1947, and the New Mexico farmer who reported the crash, as well as the reconnaissance discoveries of the bodies and the crash wreckage, which was immediately confiscated and taken back for research. So this is the last 2 pages of this alleged document to Eisenhower, and I am invoking the rights of fair use just to discuss this with you and lay it all out so you can make your own educated decision. A covert analytical effort organized by General Twining and Dr. Bush, acting on the direct orders of the president, resulted in a preliminary consensus, 19 September 1947, that the disc was most likely a short-range reconnaissance craft. This conclusion was based for the most part on the craft's size and the apparent lack of any identifiable provisioning. A similar analysis of the 4 dead occupants was arranged by Dr. Bronk. It was the tentative conclusion of this group on November 30th, 1947, that although these creatures are human-like in appearance, the biological and evolutionary processes responsible for their development had apparently been quite different from those observed or postulated in Homo sapiens. Dr. Bronk's team had suggested the term extraterrestrial biological entities, or EBEs, be adopted as the standard term of reference for these creatures until such time as a more definitive designation can be agreed upon. Since it is virtually certain that these craft do not originate from any country on Earth, considerable speculation has centered around where their point of origin might be and how they got here. Mars was and remains a possibility, although some scientists, most notably Dr. Menzel, consider it more likely that we are dealing with beings from another solar system entirely. Numerous examples of what appear to be a form of writing were found in the wreckage. Efforts to decipher these have remained largely unsuccessful. Equally unsuccessful have been efforts to determine the methods of propulsion or the nature of method of transmission of the power source involved. Research along these lines has been complicated by the complete absence of identifiable wings, propellers, jets, or other conventional methods of wiring, vacuum tubes, or similar recognizable electronic components. It is assumed that the propulsion unit was completely destroyed by the explosion, which caused the crash. A need for such additional information about these craft, their performance, characteristics, and purpose led to the undertaking known as U.S. Air Force Project SIGN, S-I-G-N, in December of 1947. In order to preserve security, liaison between SIGN and Majestic 12 was limited to 2 individuals within the Intelligence Division of Air Materiel Command, whose role was to pass along certain types of information through these channels. SIGN evolved into Project Grudge, G-R-U-D-G-E, in December of 1948, so that was just a year later. The operation is currently being conducted under the codename Blue Book, with liaison maintained through the Air Force officer who is head of the project. Yes, you heard me right. Right here. Blue Book. Okay. On 6 December 1950, a second object, probably of similar origin, impacted the Earth at high speed in the El Indio Guerrero area of the Texas-Mexican border after following a long trajectory through the atmosphere. By the time a search team arrived, what remained of the object had been almost totally incinerated. Such material as could be recovered was transported to the AEC facility at Sandia, New Mexico, for study. Implications for the national security are of continuing importance in that the motives and ultimate intentions of these visitors remains completely unknown. In addition, a significant upsurge in the surveillance activity of these craft, beginning in May and continuing through this autumn, has caused considerable concern that new developments may be imminent. It is for these reasons, as well as the obvious international and technological considerations, and the ultimate need to avoid a public panic at all costs, that the Majestic 12 group remains of the unanimous opinion that the imposition of the strictest security precautions should continue without interruption into the new administration. At the same time, Contingency Plan MJ 1949-04P78, top secret, should be held in continued readiness should the need to make a public announcement present itself. So that's the end of the document, and like I said, we're just going to take it at face value and move forward from here. The next document we'll be discussing regards the trilateral and the Bilderberger and the Council on Foreign Relations. So thanks for joining me, and I think we'll do this one tomorrow. It's a little bit more up to date. This one discusses President Reagan and the need to protect, through executive order, the military personnel reporting these UFOs because they are told that they are not allowed to talk about it. But this is actually, it also goes hand in hand with the NORAD video that I did, and it's tying things more tightly together. So, all right, I'm exhausted and I'm just stumbling over my words now. So until next time, this is just Christina. Thanks for joining me.